Well, we are here, everyone, in Manhattan, New York, and we are talking to the team of none other than the least of these, a beautiful movie coming to your screens February 1st, 400 screens throughout the country, and they are having this release 1 month prior to their release in India. Right now, I have the privilege and honor of having the director of this movie, Mr. Aneesh Daniel. Thank you so much for being with us on ITV Gold.
Thank you.
Beautiful movie. It's a great idea. We already have, sat down with Sharman Joshi, who really, truly gave us an insight into his character. And, we are going to be talking to other characters of the movie too to get their insight. But, as a director of the movie, I have to ask you, coming up with a concept such as this and targeting a story which is so heart-touching yet very tragic, what were some of the key aspects of your direction in storytelling that were very important to you when you were filming this movie? What were certain things that you wanted to ensure that you would keep up with so that the movie keeps its authenticity?
Well, the last word, authenticity, you talk about that's where I was looking for, to be as authentic as I can. But yes, the script deals with a fictional character, which leads to the truth. And that is where the beauty in the script is that though it is a fictional character, the journalist who is trying to find out the truth, and he turns the pages of the life of Graham. So everybody knows that what the journalist is going to find out, but how he's going to find out is very important. And when coming to the point of authenticity, we have gone to the real locations. We have gone to places where nobody had gone to shoot that and bring that to life,
Yes.
And I have used the element, because the film deals with the incident and the fire. I have used the element of fire from the very beginning. And if as a viewer, if you are intelligent enough to catch that, you will know that from where the fire is beginning and how it is taking shape to reach to that, the incident when the incident happened. So the point is that we sometimes get so lost with the glamour of filmmaking, and then we lose the objectivity and we lose the I should say,
the real essence, maybe?
The real essence and the real soul,
Right.
We just get so, the Indian film sometimes get so colorful and all that, but then here you will see that, everything is toned down.
Right.
Not only, the performance, but then everything else is being toned down, and we have stick to as much as the, authentic aspect of everything.
So realism was important in the movie for you as a director.
Yes, that is where, and that's why you will see India in a very different way.
Right.
We have not shown India. It's very real India.
Exactly.
People will see that and say, yeah, that's real India.
Right.
And that's nothing bad to hide about it. We are so proud of our culture. We are so proud of we being an Indian.
Right.
But yes, that is the story has come out from India, so it has to be as Indian as it has to be.
It has to happen. Mr. Aneesh, I have to ask you, during the making of the movie, describe to me a moment where you felt the most connected to this film that you directed.
Well,
without giving much out of the movie, of course, we can't do it.
Yeah.
But I would love for you to discuss that, because I think as a director, what you experienced in the making, I don't think anybody could describe that except someone who has done it.
So that's a good question. And the first schedule, when we were shooting in a place called Arku Valley, which is close to Visakhapatnam, and when we saw the rushes back after shooting those 5-10 days, and I was amazed, and I said, wow, it looks good, and I'm going to stick to that quality what I have got it here, because what I got the quality in Arku Valley. I said, I'm going to stick to that on the entire film. So that was a moment when I saw the rushes on the editing table, and our editor Stephen Bernard, who is a wonderful editor and a very senior editor, when we spoke about it, and I said, that visual quality, we need to stick to that in the entire film. And then we use that visual language from the beginning till end. So our DOP Jayakrishna Gummadi,
Right.
we discussed a lot about the whole visual language from beginning till end. And we try to have that consistency in that visual language. It's not that your one visual is so beautiful and then the other visual is so loud.
Right.
And then again you come to realism. No, from the beginning till end, we kept that visual language of as close as to, raw and real.
Yes. So you were talking to me about, the movie having an international, you've gone very international with the movie, with the cast and crew. I just wanted to talk to you about, how that experience of you as a director was. And yes, for sure, I would love for you to discuss, what were some of those struggling moments? Because, those must have made you so much stronger at the end of, the journey of the film.
Well, the struggling moment was to have good secondary, secondary cast.
Right.
And when you look for the primary cast, they are
Right.
fantastic actors who can emote and mold themselves into, a proper character.
Right.
But then when you look for secondary cast, you'll find actors who come there and just want to act. And this is which I was not wanting to happen. So what I decided was that let's go and find out the real people. And that's where I auditioned many of them who are the first timers
Oh,
in the
wow.
film. Yeah, there is a professor who teaches dramatics in Hyderabad. He has taught dramatics for many years, but he is acting there as a very key character in the film.
Wow.
He's an old man there, and when you see him, and you'll think he must be a veteran actor, but then
Right.
that's his first time he acted.
Wow.
There is a baptism girl whom I found very interesting in one of the dramas she played in our church, and I thought she will be good for this character. So she is also playing as a baptism girl in that.
Wow.
And she's so real. So there are many actors. The secondary cast are have never done this before. There is a character in the film who is Graham Staines's driver, is actually was actually the driver of Graham Staines in real life.
Wow.
And I requested him, and he said he will do that.
So back in 2000, 1990s.
Back in 1999,
Wow.
he was his right hand man, and he was the witness of the incident.
Oh, wow.
Now I made him use as the driver.
Wow. This is storytelling on a different level.
Yeah, it's a storytelling on a
Yes.
different level,
Yeah.
and also it's not that. It's also storytelling from a very realistic way.
Right.
So then you get connected with those people because they are not actors; they are real people.
For sure. And I have to ask you while we are wrapping up this interview, we've talked about the realism in your movie. We've talked about how the journey has been. You have some very prominent faces attached to the movie. I would love for you to, give a comment on how your experience was to work with all these actors, like Sharman, like Shari. And what are your hopes for the movie now that we're so close to the release?
Let me take your first question,
Yes.
and I say that I'm really blessed to work with Sharman. He's really a blessing in the project. He has worked hard. Stephen Baldwin
Yes.
and Shari Rigby, they traveled a long way from India, went through major jet lags, and then I was telling them to be on the set and then say action and cut, and they have to emote. But then they have performed. You will never realize that the kind of journey they have taken.
Right.
They have done fantastic job. Both of them, and I think I should say all three of them. If you see their graph,
Yes.
their performance, their consistency as an actor,
Right.
all the three of them, you'll get attached to them as a performer for all three of them. And not only that, you will also get attached to all the secondary cast. That way then and the film will keep playing in your mind when you go back to bed. I'm telling you, when you go back to bed, you will start thinking, and then you
Right.
want to go back and watch it once again and see, hey, why did that character spoke that line?
Yeah.
Because the line also, the script also is very well written by Andrew E. Matthews.
Wow.
So, what was... Sorry,
And my second question to you was, now that we are releasing the movie in a month, or less than a month actually, a couple of weeks, what are some of your hopes for that? Your personal hopes as a director? Not the commercial success, not what would happen in industry. What are your hopes after making this product?
I think the whole motive was to bring out the story of Graham Staines. Let people know about the story of Graham Staines. Let people know the truth about Graham Staines. This was the time when the element of fake news started. And that fake news you know, it grows up and it multiplies to something really wrong, which I want to come out and counter and say, no, this is the truth. This is what the truth is about Graham Staines. He was none other than, I should say, another saint like Mother Teresa, who has worked among the least and the least of these.
For sure.
So he should be, of course, the Lord should be glorified for me, but then his work should also be known to the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Any one last message to all our ITV Gold viewers? You know, you have audiences of, you know, thousands and thousands of South Asians watching the channel every single day. I would love for you to give out an appeal to them. It would be great.
I think, thank you for bringing this, interview. But yes, I'd like to say that all the youngsters especially, I love saying this, that be creative, look creativity in anything which is bad, in this sense, anything, we talk about saying in our filmmaking term is, any bad news is a good news.
Right.
In the sense, you try to create and look for things, something which is very good. And that if you start looking things from that good perspective, you'll every time see things, layers of another good elements in life. So to see things, whenever you see things in a very, not in a gray shades or a dark shades, but see things from in a very good perspective.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was an honor. Thank you. Everyone, February 1st, the movie is
Yes.
releasing 400 screens in North America.
Go and watch it and bring your tissues.
The least of these.
The least of.
Well, hello again, everyone. And as I said, we are here talking to the awesome crew of The Least of These. And right now I have the privilege and honor of having an American actress here with us. We have none other than Shari Rigby. Thank you so much for being with us on ITV Go, Shari.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you.
Shari, it's so amazing to have, as I've described you, just an American actress on ITV Gold, because, you know, when we see non-Indian actors participate in huge Indian film productions such as The Least of These and Wolf films, I think it sort of just creates another dialogue. You know, it sort of opens up a huger space for, you know, others that want to divulge into the industry. So, you know, obviously opening up this interview, I have to ask you, you worked in India on this movie. It was a very intense movie. It's a very heart-touching movie. It's a movie, as your director said, you need a box of tissues to watch it. So, you know, someone who lives in LA, such as yourself, you know, traveling to India and working on a very intense, you know, movie, primarily with the Indian cast, or, you know, Indian crew over there. How was your experience? And, you know, as an international actress, does it matter what industry the movie comes from?
Well, and that's such a great question. I mean, I think that one of the things that really took me back was originally back in 2014 at Christmas time, I had been praying about what my next movie role was going to be.
Right.
And I had received this call from a director that's a casting director that's a dear friend of mine, and she said, I have an offer for you on the table and for your next movie.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And she said, but you're going to go to India. And I said, yeah, no, thank you.
Oh, wow.
And I actually
no.
turned down the role.
Wow.
I did. I turned down the role. And you know, I had so many friends that had gone over to India, and they had actually worked in missions and spent a lot of time there. And you know, they always had positive stories, but it was a very hard trip for them. And so I just really had to take some time to think about it and pray about it and see what it was that I was supposed to go there and do. And so, you know, I ended up going over there and spending 6 weeks working on location. So we worked in Hyderabad, Calcutta, Orissa, and we were in the midst of, you know, real lepers, and every place that we went to was not a film set.
No,
it was really a real location.
Right.
And so it was intense. But what I came to find was that I was so meant to go to India, and the people I fell in love with and the beauty of it was so incredible. And just the reminder of that, you know, what this movie is about, The Least of These, is as human beings, we are to be serving.
Right.
And we are to be serving the least of these. And I think, for me, it was just a beautiful opportunity for me to see, really what life looked like outside of a comfort zone and what missionaries actually do give up to go and spread the gospel. And so I was just blown away. And now India for me is probably one of the highlights of my life, and I can't wait to go back. So it was beautiful.
Wow. And we are, while we are talking about this, I would kind of want to again bring in my second question.
Yeah.
When you experienced your entire journey of this movie in India, and now that you are going through so much promotional, ongoings right now, have you seen any difference in the process of filmmaking, or the authenticity of it in that manner when you did work with filmmakers in India? Did you see any kind of a difference? I'm asking you because you've had such a huge experience over here. When you went into this film, did you have any eye-opening moments, perhaps?
Yes, tons. It really was a different atmosphere altogether. The Indian culture has a very relaxed way of doing things, and I think that was something for a lot of us coming from the U.S. to get used to. We were very used to rigid schedules and rigid rehearsals, and certain things that in our culture is just something
there.
we know. It's just there. And in India, it wasn't like that. So it really was a new experience learning of what it was like to be on set.
Right.
And then working with most of the background or people that would have been considered a second tier acting within the film, maybe one-liners or two-liners or day players. You weren't actually working with actors. You were working with local Indian hires that were living there either in Hyderabad or they were living in the leprosy home or serving, and so all of a sudden you're in a completely different environment. And the leprosy part of this particular film is being on a movie set, you're only normally encountering another actor that's playing a role.
Right.
And anything that would have been happening with a leper where they were losing an arm or a leg or a toe or whatever that might have looked like would have been something that would have done by makeup. Right? Well, here we are in the midst of real lepers, seeing this firsthand. And that was just something that none of us, I think, were ready for, but the experience of it was also so beautiful. But completely different experience, and again, very life-changing and really humbling.
Wow.
It teaches you that you should be honored and humbled to be able to go and do what we do as actors and serve those kind of people.
Was it hard to play your character?
Yeah, she was, I look at Gladys Staines and she's
very complicated. Just in the trailer too, you see her help, but then you see a different dimension and she says, don't involve my kids, don't say something about my kids,
Right.
I'm just saying this because I'm still obsessing over the promo a little bit. Everybody go watch the trailer.
She was, what, everybody asks me, well, what do you think of Gladys? And I said, all the videos and everything I've seen of her and watched of her is that the first thing that hit my mind was she's very regal. And to think about this very regal, very humble, very kind woman, you watch her in a culture that you wouldn't put her in. And all of a sudden you see just a different, this woman that is so willing to serve. And yet though, you can tell to be in a culture like that, and especially with her children, and even the people that she loved and was serving, I guarantee you that Gladys is a fighter for them. And or she wouldn't be there fighting for their lives in the first place. And so I really wanted that to come through in her character so that we experience this. She loves her family, she's there serving, and she's also this very honorable woman of God who knows exactly who she is.
Wow. I think you've described this character so beautifully, and we can totally see the passion you have for this. Your two other co-actors, they're amazing. They've done such a huge body of work themselves, both of them.
Yes.
how was your entire experience, the entire journey of the movie with them? What do you have to say about them? Was it very important to have that safe space with them when you were on these sets?
Mm-hmm. It was actually, and that's again a great question. I mean, I think working with actors of this caliber,
right,
all of a sudden you step into a whole nother environment where you're standing there in front of them, and you have to have a safety net with them, and you have to be able to express and talk about different scenes that you're getting ready to do. In fact, Sharman and I had a couple very difficult scenes together, and it was a really great time to sit down with him and just talk about what it looked like to go into the scene and what both of us were feeling emotionally and how we both perceived it. Because as actors, we come in and we do perceive things differently, and it's always interesting to see what the other actor is going to bring to the table.
Right.
And then that way you can both really have this dialogue that needs to happen for authenticity in the scene. So I think Sharman Joshi is fabulous. His storytelling is incredible. Stephen Baldwin just knocked my socks off. I think he did such a fantastic job, and I was just honored to be part of it with both of them.
We are coming to a wrap-up of this interview, which I don't want to wrap up, but, if you were to tell the audience something that has truly stuck with you from the movie, and that's the reason they should go watch it, or a reason why someone should even look up a story such as of Graham, what would you say?
I think two things. One thing I would say was that really who Graham Staines was and why he did what he did. There's this conception that he was there spreading the gospel, which he was, but really the people that you speak to that knew Graham, the lepers that he actually, walked with, did life with, were the ones that were saying, I never converted to Christianity, but he touched me in a way that nobody else ever did. Physically, he touched me. As a leper, nobody else would touch me. And I think to myself, can you even imagine living in a culture like that where it doesn't matter what race or religion you are, but what matters is that the man who knows himself loves so deeply that he would be willing to give his own life. And that's just the gospel for us. I think the one thing that stands out to me the most in my time in India was I was on set in the leprosy home, and they brought a woman in, and I was going to be performing this medical, just looking at her feet and looking at the wrappings that were on her feet, and she was a real leper. And I was in a room that was very small. It had been built in the 1940s, no ventilation. We had cameras all around us, heat, lots of people. And when I sat down to start working on her foot and as the scene rolled, I actually smelled death. I could smell rotting skin. I mean, I'm this close to a woman's toes that are about to fall off. Wow. And when you never experience that, and it's something that's all of a sudden hits you. And so I got up, ran outside. I had to call stop, and I started to get sick. And my husband was standing outside, and I said, I don't think I can do this. And he said, yes, you can. And he prayed over me, and I went back into that room, and I sat down in front of her. And again, the whole room is filled with people. And she looked up at me, and right as she looked at me, God just totally spoke to me, and he said, I love these feet. And to know the love that he had for this beautiful woman that was going through so much. And all of a sudden when that happened, this incredible fragrance entered the room, and the whole atmosphere changed. In fact, JK, who is Hindi, was on the camera, and he said, something just happened. And everybody in the room knew that something happened. And I thought, being an actress is one thing, but to encounter moments like that with people and God, there's nothing that'll ever touch it.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
I think this movie was truly life-changing. I think that's the
That's
underlining
the
message.
It's life-changing.
It's life-changing. It's something that it makes you think. I mean, the trailer makes us think, so you can only imagine. I really hope people go, watch this, Shari, and I really hope a lot of love comes to you, from this movie. What else can we look forward to in 2019 from you? Have to ask you before I go, because the viewers are going to want to know. Where is Shari going next after this?
I'm super excited excited. I have another movie coming out in August, August 23rd. It's called Overcomer. It's with Sony Affirm Pictures and the Kendrick brothers. And so I am really, really excited about this project. It's all about identity and running the race. And I think people are going to absolutely love this film. So they'll be seeing me in that.
Beautiful. And Shari, before, and this is my final question, we just had Women's March here in Manhattan. You were someone that so many women are looking up to, women power, female power. What's your message to the women, the American women of 2019? What should we look forward to for ourselves and our voices this year?
I think first and foremost, just knowing who you are and understanding who you are, your identity. But be humble, be kind, be gracious, and reach out and support that other woman that, we're supposed to be out there fighting for. So I think that's what we truly need to do. I have to say that in my career over the last 10 years, the majority of people that have walked alongside of me have been men. And so what my whole goal is to see, and as we've moved into this new place, is to see other women coming up and really fighting for other women. To say, not only do I want to see you empowered, but I want to do the course of life with you, and be the best that you can possibly be. And that's what I hope. So I hope that as women, that's exactly what you go out to do. Sharpen the iron of another woman, and you will see great things happen.
That was amazing. I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful for you to say that, because I think it is empowered women empowering others. I think that's how we're going to really try to get this entire thing mobilized. Thank you again, Shari.
Yes, thank you.
Beautiful. And that was none other than Shari Rigby from The Least of These. Everyone, the movie is releasing February 1st across 400 screens in this country. Go watch it, as she has promised to you. It will touch you emotionally. And thank you for joining us on ITV Gold. I'm Ridhi Lama with cameraman Rajapati signing off.
Tell me! Leprosy is the veil behind which Staines operates. The tool he uses.
You bring me evidence of illegal conversion, I'll give you a permanent position.
One day I'll find the proof of him converting the tribals.
Who is he?
Staines. The law states that no person shall convert or attempt to convert any person from one religious faith to another. And yet not one missionary has been charged.
We can't make any mistakes. They have this law for a reason.
I know. We must pray.
Farmers are leaving their lands and families. But do the missionaries ever get the blame for this?
Actually, this sends out a good message. Teaches the Christians a lesson.
What does expendability mean?
Well, that's when you do something and some people think it doesn't matter. Write about the work, not about me.
Leave my children out of it.
Tell me!
You can still write the truth.
What is the truth?
The Bible says God created us from the dust of the earth. Dust for dust. Seek, and ye shall find.
You were talking about the truth, weren't you?
So fear, unfounded fear, prevents the people from doing good?
And what you do is good? What did he give you to convert?
You want the truth? Truth always seems to cost something.